Good morning, everybody, and welcome for this Awards Day 2024 at the Maison de la Mutualité. Thank you for being present here to pay tribute to these 51 small and larger companies which have contributed behind the scenes or not to the success of the recent major sports events in France. Companies which might then be able to capitalize on this in the coming weeks and months to continue growing abroad. 51 companies fated here today. They'll all be with us here at 5:30 this afternoon, and several of them will be coming to give us their testimony in the course of the day on 4 themes which we have chosen. The first 2 this morning, planning and delivery of events, followed by innovation and technological solutions. Then there will be the networking lunch break on the 3rd floor, lunch break to which you're all invited. And then this afternoon, the other 2 themes, engagement and experience, and then sustainable practice and legacy. And the Minister for Sports, Youth and Community Life, Gilles Averroux, will be with us to close the day's proceedings and congratulate the 51 award winners who will be on the stage this evening. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Vincent Roger, Ministerial Delegate for the National Cause of Sports for All, who will be coming up for the introduction to today's proceedings. Thank you, dear Gaël, dear Lucien, dear Sarah, Cédric, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome this morning to the 2024 Awards, a new event organized in partnership with the Directorate for Sports, the French Sports Touch, the Commonwealth Agency, the Sports Filière, GL Events and Global Sports Week. An opportunity to greet also my colleagues from the Ministry for Sport, Jean-François, Laurent and Patricia, who have also contributed to organizing the day's event. Welcome to the Mutualité, such a key venue for the events on subjects of engagement, and thank you for welcoming us here for a day where we're going to be showcasing French know-how in major international sporting events. Welcome for a day of discussions of originality and inspiration, which will be closed this evening by Gilles Averroux, Minister for Sports, Youth and Community Life. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, this year France has had many sports events, and following on from the Rugby World Cup, the Skiing World Championships, to mention just the most recent ones, France has really given France an opportunity to shine, to show its know-how, the technical skills of our companies and our faith in innovation. All unanimously praised by media the world over. And today's event is part of this, part of the program of the National Cause for 2024, chosen 2 years ago by the President of the Republic to promote physical and sports activity throughout 2024, with 2 key ambitions. First of all, to make people more familiar with the benefits of sport, and also to fight against the sedentary lifestyle. 3 objectives have been set within this framework. First of all, to get the country moving, its companies and organizations, to promote the values, benefits of sport, to make sport more central to public policy, and most importantly, to encourage French people to do more physical and sports activity, with the simple message of doing 30 minutes of sport each day. On this subject, in the course of the day, there will be some active breaks where you can get moving, which are a part of all the events that we have organized. So far, more than 3,000 events have been organized within the framework of this national cause of sports for all over the country. 100 partnerships have been created to achieve our objectives, and this national cause really adopts a 360-degree view of sport in society. And this program aims to make 2024 a turning point in France as regards the place of sport in our daily life, because we are convinced of the importance of sport for integration, inclusion, education, public health, and also economic development, and making the country more attractive. The programme of this national cause of sport for all also seeks to promote the legacy of the Olympic Games and the French skills in the sports sector, a sector which contributed hugely to the success of the Games and to the reputation of our country. It's also very closely involved in the organisation around this national cause. As you know, sport contributes to growth, and it contributes as much to national wealth as the hotel and accommodation sector. 2.6% of our GDP, more than 400,000 jobs. If you want more information, I suggest you read the supplement in the Tribunal du Dimanche, which we'll be handing out during the event. You should have that on your seats, which focuses on the energy generated by the sports sector. In addition to its economic weight, it's also a very decentralized sector that covers the whole of the territory and drives the economy and the clubs and associations of the different regions to contribute to health, also to tourism, and also sports activity in professional environments to contribute to the prestige of France. Many innovative solutions from recent international events created by French companies will now be exported for events, international sports events all over the world. Without doubt, there will be French companies which will be taking part in the organisation of the Los Angeles Olympic Games in 2028 or the Brisbane Games in 2032. And it's with all this in mind that these awards of 2024 have been organised. Thank you to the judges, headed by Sarah Uramoun, with the sports community, the ministries also, for their commitment. The awards pay tribute to 50 companies of different sizes, highlight an impressive range of different talent in these organizations, and let's not forget that this sector encourages people to do sports and physical activity, which also has a key effect on our health and well-being. To follow on from the Games, we need to promote the stakeholders in the sports sector and to think about the place we want to give them in our society. And in this process, we must all together support the idea that the success of the Games did not mark the end of the story, but the beginning of a cultural revolution to promote the impact of sport on social cohesion, economic growth, and national unity. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of all these issues, I wish you a very enjoyable and inspiring day. Thank you very much, Vincent Roger. We'll see you again later for that active break you were talking about, mid-morning. Now we welcome Lucien Boyer, President and co-founder of Global Sports Week, with Sarah Uramoun, Vice President of Filière Sport and head of the jury, and Cédric Roussel, Minister in charge of... Lucien, hello. Could you tell us about what the event represents? It's the first time we've held an event like this, and what's the link with Global Sports Week? Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to see you all here. Global Sports Week was created in 2020 under the high patronage of the President in order to create an international platform for promoting innovative sustainable sports. And over the years, we've developed this with all the different stakeholders in sport, with the support mainly of the Ministry for Sport, Youth and Community Life, as it's called now. And the idea was to build an international community in Paris. Why in Paris? Because we wanted to fit this in with the major sporting events that have been held, which are catalysts in this process. And Vincent Rouget just talked about this. This is a very special moment where we have been showcasing our know-how. To do this, we wanted to prepare things and to also prepare the legacy of these events, and that's the stage we're at now, a few weeks after the end of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, a few months after the Rugby World Cup and other events. We're seeing just the extent to which people have shared emotions. There has been a worldwide impact, celebrating the champions and celebrating also the organization committee, who deserve the praise they have received, which have created exceptional conditions for the event with all the different stakeholders, partners, and the state and its departments. But we haven't entirely seen everybody behind the scenes. These companies we'll be talking about today, without whom the events would not have reached the same standard of quality, would not have had the same impact, and that's what we wanted to do through this initiative. So the awards for 2024 will be discovering them in the course of the day, discovering these companies which have contributed to these international events. How were the winners chosen? We put out a call for projects. We had to wait for the end of the Olympic and Paralympic Games so that people actually could think about something else. So we only had a short period of time, mid-September to mid-October. All the companies were invited to fill out a questionnaire online, something very simple that any company, even the smallest companies, could fill out to apply the same criteria to everybody. And the call for projects then gave rise to some 100 applications which were analysed, of a very high standard, which were analysed and reviewed by the team of Global Sports Week and its partners. And in a meeting of the jury, the panel of judges, chaired by Sarah Ouramoun, a great champion and entrepreneur, and vice president of the Filière Sport organization with all the different stakeholders, the national cause, the Directorate for Sport at the Ministry for Sport, the interministerial delegation for sports events, the Ministry for the Economy and Tourism, and its delegation for the sports economy, and then the French National Olympic Committee, Organisation Committee, and the different partner companies like GL Events. And I'd like to thank all of them for taking part and for the quality of the debate and the precise analysis that they carried out to choose the award winners. Thank you very much, Lucien. We can give these companies and the members of a jury a round of applause. Jury headed by Sarah Ouramoun. I imagine, Sarah, it's not difficult to make a choice. So I imagine it was very satisfying to have so many candidates. Yes, absolutely. It is a genuine source of satisfaction to see the enthusiasm of French companies in each application. Really, they showed a unique contribution to these great major sporting events in terms of accessibility, inclusivity, sustainability. We see that sport is inspiring practical, creative solutions to take up today's challenges. And it was a great pleasure for me to take part in this panel of judges and to see how the companies draw their inspiration from sport and really get involved, commit to the future of sport in France. When you had to make the choice in the end, was it you who made the choice? I think we can say we were fairly unanimous about the choice of the companies, which are the award winners. We know that the Filière Sport organization was very closely involved in recent events like the Olympic Games and the Rugby World Cup. What are the next challenges after the Rugby World Cup and the Olympic and Paralympic Games, which was such a success? There are a lot of upcoming challenges. I see four. The first is to really build on the legacy of these major events, the infrastructures, the facilities, the initiatives put in place for these events, for me, in my opinion, must be maintained for the benefit of our fellow citizens. Another important challenge is accessibility and inclusivity. We saw when we were judging the applications that there were applications which really are of great interest for people who perhaps have very little sports activity, and we know that this is important for people who might be very remote from sports, no matter where they live, no matter what their physical abilities. The sports sector really does have an impact and can be a vector of social cohesion. And in my opinion, we really need to continue with this momentum. The third challenge is an important one. A priority is technological innovation. Technological solutions enabled us during the Rugby World Cup, during the Olympic Games, the Paralympic Games, to enjoy unique sporting experiences in improving the performances of the athletes, enhancing the experience for spectators. And you'll see among the award winners there are some magnificent initiatives in terms of sustainable resource management. And the final challenge is to really be exemplary, to set an example in terms of sustainable resource management. We have to continue supporting these initiatives, so that's quite a few challenges that await us still. And we will see some of those initiatives today, with some things which will be continuing after the Games. Thank you, Sarah. Cédric, what are the key points in the roadmap, and how is the ministry working with this? Hello, everybody. Sarah has already said a lot of important things. Within this framework, we drew up a roadmap in which the ministry was fully involved in March at Bercy, at the ministry. And so the sector there has benefited from a boost with the Olympic Games, and the roadmap for the sector, I think, shows the possibilities for the expansion and growth of the sector and its impact. Back in 2016, the intention was to organize the sports event community better for political reasons, to make these major events more attractive with this very special period with the Rugby World Cup in 2023 and also World Championships in Courchevel and Méribel and the Olympic and Paralympic Games. But over all these years, we've seen that sport is not just events. Around the events, there are a number of other sub-sectors. There's an industry, as we saw with the buildings, the technological facilities, and there's innovation, which is essential in all these sectors. There is also, I would say, sustainable tourism or sustainable practices, this question of sustainable sport that we can work on. And when we're thinking about the Games really provide a launch pad for the sector internationally. So it's good to define a roadmap for the sector that corresponds to everything the Ministry for the Economy is trying to do, and the aim of this new team within our department is to involve the different stakeholders in sport in taking up the issues of the economic issues at the ministry, as demonstrated by the Olympic and Paralympic Games of Paris 2024, to really set an example, to become a model for others and to export that model in terms and its sustainability. So now, for the companies, what is the next milestone? Is that 2030? Obviously, we're lucky to have that event. These major sports events are catalysts. But that's 2030. And in the meantime, and that is the challenge for the sector and the working groups we're setting up, one important focus I haven't mentioned is reinforcing the business, the economic models in the sports sector, like in culture, like in any other sector. There is an impact of the debt crisis, and therefore, even more than in the past, we have to find solutions to diversify income. So the French Alps Winter Olympics in 2030 will accelerate innovation, will drive innovation, will mobilize the sector, of course, and it's important that we should remember this, with public-private partnerships. And here, with the French Alps 2030 Winter Olympics, it's an additional motivation, like for the Paris Games. And we have shown that these partnerships and all the things that the sector wants to do with its public and private stakeholders, that we can all work together with the same objective to make a success of the Games. So there's also 2030, which is there, a next step, but there are other steps in the meantime, but we really have to focus on the financing, and there are technical companies that need to grow, that need funding, and it's in this respect that accelerating closer relations between large groups and smaller startups and public-private partnerships, and also involving the investment funds, this is all part of the objectives with the support of the Ministry for the Economy. Thank you, Cédric Roussel. Thank you to all three of you, and we will see you again this evening when we welcome the award winners to the stage at about 5:30.